Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ola. Many thanks to those of you, my friends, who have reached out asking me to do videos on preparation for your educational supervisor's report, ESR. And this video is an attempt to do just that. To prepare for your ESR, you come to portfolio in here and you will click on prepare. However, before we start doing that proper, a couple of things we need to know. To prepare for your ESR, to know you're ready, these capabilities and the Los Angeles seniors should be completed just like these ones, because those are the evidences you have cited at least 4 times that has made them complete like this. Now, how to know you're ready and you've done everything you should do for your ESR as far as your capabilities are concerned is that this gray colored Los Angeles then turn green just like this one. And then again, you need to also sign your health declaration and your probity declaration in here. That can be done after your preparation itself. So let's go right into it. So we click on prepare, and 14 fish is really intuitive. It's going to give us everything we need to do. Number one is that we need to complete the clinical experience coverage. So we click on that, and then it will ask us to comment on the clinical experience group coverage in relation to the stage. So I could put in here that I am happy I have achieved I have achieved a wide range of evidences covering the clinical experience groups. So I could do that. I've achieved. Okay. So to say in which area of clinical experience group do I think I need to focus my attention on, that goes back to this lozenges I was showing you earlier. Let's say I've got everything full, but I've got one that is like this. That will be an area I will need to focus on. So I would say, oh, I was able to gather evidence in all other capabilities or all other experience groups except this one. And because of that, I will be focusing on this experience group or this capability in my next ESR. So that will be all with the clinical experience group. The second one is the educational assessment progress. And what this one does really is to look at whether we have fulfilled actions that were required during the last ARCP. So will click yes if I've done that. Whether I've met all my workplace-based assessment, I will do say yes if I've done that. If I have safeguarding level 3, I will click on yes. If I have my child safeguarding level 3, I will click on yes. If I have my BLS, I will click on yes. Whether I've completed at least one SEA or LEA as stipulated by the RCGP, I will click on yes, and I will acknowledge it and then click on save. So that will be that done. Then I will then click on the health um, declaration, which looks at regulatory proceedings against a doctor. Then I will click on what's appropriate. And if I've been subject to one, then I will have to provide details of it. Same thing goes for the conviction one as well. And then I will then click on the ESR sign off progress, but this will be done at the end of it when I have done my part and I've sat down with my supervisor and we've agreed, and then I want it uh, to be done, because once this is done, then it's logged. It can only be unlocked by my supervisor, and then I will document my time out of training and make sure it's similar to what I've recorded in my former, and I will have at least 3 action plans which we'll come to. And finally, I will rate and mark as finished in all capabilities. So I will click on that. And in order to do that, I have to then come to each of the capabilities. Now, this in here will show the places that I have rated myself already. And these learning logs are the evidences I have linked to each capability that my supervisor had earlier agreed to. And these are the relevant assessments, be it CAPS, be it CBDs, that are in keeping and that my supervisor or whoever has done those assessments has picked as the relevant capabilities met. And sometimes these capabilities get raised up in multi-source feedback as well, and then they are picked in here as relevant. So I will start with fitness to practice, and with fitness to practice, it will ask me to rate myself. So if I'm in ST1 or ST2, I'm going to click on needs further development. If I'm in ST3 and this is my final ESR before my final ARCP, I will click on competent, or I will click on excellent, depending on how I feel I've done. Now, when I picked on needs further development, it will ask me to the detail of the rating itself. So I will say I'm meeting expectation. Now, sometimes you can find ST1 doctors going, they are competent. I mean, you can't really be competent in ST1, so it's something to be aware of. So, and then the next one is evidence to support this rating. Then I will scroll down. Then it will give me all the available evidences that have been um, uh, allocated for that capability. In this case, I've got only one evidence, and I can click on this to show me details of that evidence. And if it's something I've gone through and I am like, okay, good, I can click on this in here. And what doing that will do is that it will immediately populate that evidence, such that if it's something I'd justified before, I don't need to then go ahead and then start justifying it all over again. Now, one way to make sure you're preparing well for this is to click on the word descriptor ratings, as it tells us what a competent one should look like and what a need further development one should look like. So, if a doctor has picked in ST1 that they are competent, but the quality of the entries, the quality of the evidences fall under this, it just tells the panel that this doctor is not having insight. They do not understand the stage they are in or the level they are in. So once I pick the evidence, I will save it, and then I go to the next capability. So the next one is maintaining an ethical approach. I will do the same thing in here. I will click on need further development. I will say I'm meeting expectation. If I believe I'm meeting expectation, then I will scroll down. I will look at all the available evidences. So this is a clinical case review. So I will pick this evidence. I will scroll down to look for other evidences. This is another clinical case review. So I will click on this evidence as well. And this has been justified really nicely. So there is no point in beginning to justify all over again, since I've clicked on that and they've been justified already. Now, I will need to justify in instances where there is no prior justification for those evidences, or if uh, the evidences I'm picking are evidences that relate to assessment. Let's say I'm picking a mini cakes or I'm picking a CBD. Sometimes they are not adequately justified there. So in that case, I will need to then specifically write that I've been able to meet the evidence of maintaining an ethical approach, and this is something that my supervisor who did this mini cakes for me was able to pick up as well, and that is usually more than enough. So I do that. I click on save, and then I go to the next capability. I do the same, click on save, then I go to the next capability, do the same, go to the next capability till I'm done with all my capabilities. Now, once I'm done with all my capabilities and I'm only clicking on save, I will then come back to develop 3 action plan. In order to get the best place to put an action plan on, what I often advise is to look at those capabilities where you think you're not really doing well. Let's say I've not been doing well, and this is so common. on community orientation, for instance, I will go to the capability of community orientation, and that's a very common one uh, because it's a poorly understood capability. If you haven't seen my video where I've explained with practical examples on, or I've explained each and every capability, please go see that video as it will help a lot to understand those capabilities. So let's say I've not done a lot in community orientation. I could then put an action plan in here that, look, in my next rotation or in my next academic year, community orientation is something I like to focus on. So how am I going to do that? I will look for opportunities to meet this capability. So what I'm saying in here, in essence, is that I understand that this capability is a problem area for me. I understand that it's something I need to develop a bit at, and I'm taking steps to do that. In fact, I could even go ahead and say this is something I will particularly discuss with my ears at the point of ESR to see what suggestions they might have for me in order to help me develop this capability better next time. So for each ESR, we need three of these action plans on three capabilities. So we need three action plan, one each for every capability, but we need to select just three of the capabilities. So once we are done with that, that will be the doctor's part of the ESR done. And as I mentioned, how to know is that all of these lozenges will then turn green. As you can see, some have already turned green, and those are those areas where I had picked those evidences. Remember, for fitness to practice, we've got just one evidence which I've picked, and that's why it has turned green here. And also for maintaining an ethical approach, I've picked two evidences, and that's why they've turned green. In fact, we only have two evidences in here. Now, the common question I often get asked is what evidences to pick when I have multiple evidence. Now, the general belief is that you want to pick something interesting. That is not exactly true or the right thing to do. The best thing to do is to pick a mix of your clinical case review and a mix of assessment. What that means is that you're saying, I'm not just the one saying I've done this one right as per my clinical case review, but my supervisors and other seniors who have done this assessment for me are saying I've met this capability as well. And that means that you're looking it way beyond yourself alone or what you're saying, but you're bringing out the words of other people as well as evidence to meet those capabilities. And once you're done with that, that will be your ESR preparation done, and then you can have that meeting with your supervisors so that they can get your ESR sorted, get it signed, ready for your ARCP. Don't forget your ARCP, you want to do your ESR in good time, not later than 2 weeks before the RCP, but also not earlier than 6 weeks as well. Please look out for my video on the guidelines to follow for your final ARCP preparation, just to go through that checklist, which I'm going to be showing you in my next video, that you need to just check to ensure that you have everything you need ready before your ARCP date. If you have liked this video, please do well to subscribe. Give me some thumbs up to encourage me to make even more content for you. Please share with your friends, and I will see you in my next video. I wish you all the best in your coming ARCPs. Bye.